Hello my country people, welcome back to the news. All these things wey dey happen for Abuja, wey Nyesom Wike just dey waka dey collect people land, e no really make sense o. It's quite unfortunate that some persons are helpless, even those that manage to raise up their voices over this oppression. Some of them are being told to shut up. Because Nyesom Wike, who is the FCT minister, has been alleged to be notoriously taking over lands in several areas and relocating them to his cronies using front companies and rendering residents homeless. Documents from Corporate Affairs Commission (CAC) obtained on Thursday showed that the minority leader in the House of Representatives, Honorable Kingsley Chinda, is a serving director in one of such companies, known as the Saravera Nigeria Limited. It was alleged that Saravera and Allied Construction Limited are two of the front companies being used by the FCT minister, Wike, and under the control of Kingsley Chinda and one Akpo to relocate and revoke land to himself. We know that the Code of Conduct Bureau is under pressure to investigate Chinda and Wike for land grabbing, as calls have been going to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to probe these land matters, because all these land matters are getting out of hands. The Southern Leader Council has called out for the arrest of Wike and Chinda over leaked evidence of abuse of office, land grabbing, and violation of Code of Conduct Act. They are also demanding that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should prosecute these two. Then the House of Reps should also suspend that Honorable Chinda. So Nyesom Wike has been going around revoking innocent people's land, and he's relocating those lands back to himself using front companies managed and owned by his crony Kingsley Chinda, who is a sitting House of Reps member. And this is in violation of the Code of Conduct law. And Wike is doing all these things. There are evidence to back up these claims. Top sources in the FCT has called for a probe and the audit of all the lands revoked so far by Wike and reallocated. This is a very dirty scandal, and it is really terrible. It is really, really terrible. It was land that the company allegedly used for hijacking illegal revoked land is Adepoyi's, who also was used to execute some projects in Rivers State during Wike's administration. And he's also said to be the contractor handling the present construction of George's quarters, this Mr. Akpo. Another company in the land grabbing scandal is a Garden City Hall in Port Harcourt, which is alleged to have ties with Nyesom Wike. And so many persons are wondering what's happening in the FCT, what's happening in Abuja. Nigerians are patiently watching to see how the DSS and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will handle these scandals, this land scam. Because at this point, we don't really know what's happening. So many persons have been complaining, Wike this, Wike that, Wike this, Wike that. In a viral video seen on X, some FCT officials were seen storming a community with bulldozer to demolish houses, but they were resisted by the residents. The residents claimed that there was a substituting court order stopping the FCT administration from demolishing their houses and declaring the revocation of their interest as illegal. They had to chase them away. Had it been they did not stood their ground and chase them away, those people would have demolished their houses. In that viral video, Very Dark Man in one of his videos had talked about a revoked land that belonged to a late prominent military soldier whose family members are currently occupying it, that Nyesom Wike revoked the land and reallocated it to one of his cronies. So we've been hearing so many stories about Nyesom Wike. The recent one Rita Lorry, who is a prominent Niger Delta activist and a member of the Olu of Warri Council, called out for an investigation. She raised alarm in a viral interview on Arise TV, where she raised alarm and she called for an investigation into the actions of Nyesom Wike over his involvement in controversial land disputes in Abuja. This lady had talked about her family's land, the land that was allocated to her late husband, that them and the FCT people are currently having issues because they are trying to demolish her husband's 42-year-old estate in Abuja. And that is the only property her husband, has. That is the only property her late husband has. And that property is more like her husband's legacy. So she really cried. I felt pity for that lady, where she expressed her frustration over the situation, and she described it as an injustice to her husband's legacy. And that estate in question is valued at about 3.5 billion naira, and it has been a part of her family for several decades. According to her husband, who was a soldier, was allocated that land. That land was given to him during the early days of the country's capital development. But all of a sudden, Wike overnight just came and said he wants to revoke the land. So she had called that the Nigerian government should launch a probe into Wike's actions, that Wike's own is too much. Enough is enough. She even challenged Mr. President, urging him to investigate Wike's role in land grabbing. It's getting out of hands. And Mr. President has been quiet over this Wike's land grabbing issue in Abuja. He has not said anything. So many persons have been calling out to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to talk some senses into Nyesom Wike. This act is really unfair because you are the FCT minister. You go around grabbing people's land without, you just go, you grab people's land, then you reallocate those land to your cronies. Guys, this is really getting out of hand. So Wike is using his own hands to dig his grave. He doesn't know that he's ending his political career. He thinks he's the boss. He thinks he's the new sheriff of the FCT. He doesn't know that this is the beginning of his end. I'm dropping here. Kindly share your thoughts on this in the comment section. Thank you.